Good morning, everyone. That's what I will say.
Good morning. It's 2 p.m.
Classic.
Wake
up with Criken at 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Looks like we're live, at least on my channel. Probably on Lawrence's soon. There it goes. There they are. There's the men, the boys,
Welcome, everyone.
the girls,
The men, the boys, the girls, and everyone else.
and the
Good morning.
the thems. I try to say the theys or the thems to make sure that everybody's included.
Hi, y'all.
Hello, yeah, y'all. I can't say y'all because I'm not from Texas.
Okay. You can appropriate y'all. Y'all's a
Can I
appropriable term.
I can?
Is that true, Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm gonna give permission on that one.
Okay. All right. Because
I think,
Lawrence
it's
is from
kinda like-
Texas, so.
Yeah, the sentiment behind it would be cruel to withhold it back.
It's too pure.
People,
It is.
People say that in Arizona too sometimes. That's true. Yeah, just in the South in general, I think.
Grammatically necessary.
Like a disease. The y'all disease is spreading from the south to every corner of the globe. Soon there will be nowhere safe from y'all.
I think they say y'all. Don't they say y'all in like? I thought they said it in the UK too.
Nope.
No.
It's just too useful.
Yeah. It is really useful because even typing it "you all" in an email is weird. I've done that a couple of times where I'm like, "You all should do this," because I don't want to say "Hey, you guys," because that people
guys.
people have told me that I can't refer to everybody as guys because it's
Yeah.
it's sexist.
It's a bummer.
And I don't know if that's true,
is a little
but
bit,
I
I
try
guess.
not to do that. So
There's this is interesting because I feel like people have charged opinions, not because of any kind of prejudice, but I think people believe strongly that they want to live in a world where this is true. That dude is fundamentally gender neutral. Now, people have differing opinions on it, and I respect them. I do. But I would like to live in a world where everything and everyone can be a dude. But if somebody doesn't want to identify that way, that's fine. You don't have to identify as dude, and I won't call you that.
I thought that
But
I thought that we could say dude, and it was all right. I mean, unless somebody tells me that I can't call them dude, which is totally fine.
I've seen people that say dude is not gender neutral, and that's fine. That's fine. That's the whole point, right?
This is gonna sound. I don't know if makes sense. I've said man in a gender neutral way, like what's up, man? I don't think of it as I say that to like my female friends as well as my guy friends, and I only realize that it has the connotation of being sexually or not sexually, being gender specific. Once I said to someone that identifies as a they, and then suddenly I'm like, oh no. I've been putting this on them,
Right.
when I just want to say what's up, you know.
You got to apologize, Criken.
I did apologize, actually.
You know what? Let's do it right now, Criken.
Okay.
We got her here. She's on the line right now.
Oh, she's there.
It's
Let me
not she,
just,
it's a they.
Hi.
They're
Hi,
on the line
Criken.
right now.
Now you gotta apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Criken.
It's not what they sound like, and now you're being.
How about this? Hey, Criken. How about that?
That could pass. Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
I'm sorry. I already texted you this, that I'm sorry that I called you man. but-
Texted.
That
The
was
conversation was
very,
over text.
very informal, and I didn't like it. I would like it in person, or at least over Discord, like we are.
I don't like this bit anymore. This is puppeteering a person you don't even know.
I don't-
In a
We're giving you
situation weren't
catharsis,
a part
Craig.
of.
This is called role playing. You know,
Yes.
Okay,
RPing.
I do not support the R word.
What? Role?
The hard R.
Role playing?
You don't appreciate role play.
What are you talking about?
Look, actually, this is a good story. About a year or so ago, you guys remember the release of Atlas?
Yes, of course.
Hold on. Wait. What? Like the book with all the maps in it?
Yes. Remember when put to pen, the original Atlas was inscribed in the great Greek Parthenon? No, it's Atlas is a by the same folks that made Ark.
It was the
It's
ripoff.
like a pirate
remember
version
Lawrence?
of Ark.
Remember Lawrence?
Oh yes, yes, I
Yeah.
do remember. I absolutely remember. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
So it was launching, and so myself and all my little RP buddies signed up, and we're like, all right, we're gonna roleplay as pirates in this great new game that just launched. And so we started playing it, and of course it's launch day, so things are going crazy. The server's going down all the time. Everyone's like no one has anything in the game, so everyone's just like full on tribal, stabbing each other, taking their stuff, and it's just a bad scene. And then, so I think we're playing on a Twitch streamer only server, and we were doing like a little RP thing in a corner, and then like some dude just runs up to us, also a streamer, and like starts like saying the most heinous shit to us because we're role playing. I think he called us like kid diddlers and
oh my gosh,
like whatever he could think of, because we were role playing, and that's so gay. And then he like sprinted away and just ran into the underbrush, and we were like, what? And then someone like found his channel and linked us the clip, and they're like, yeah, this guy's like an absolute like bastard and says this to everybody, and like he's just racist on stream. And so we may have passed that along to some Twitch officials, and we got him kicked off the site for a couple weeks.
Whoa,
so
good for you.
I don't mind being whistleblower when someone is dropping, racist terms and calling people diddlers for something. So,
Criken, you apologize over text, and you're a snitch.
Yes, I am.
A snitch. I love that word. Snitch. Like you're a tattletale. Like you're gonna get stabbed because you're a snitch in jail.
I prefer a rat, Lawrence. Right. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Rat Crew.
Yeah.
Memes. Hey, welcome to the Talk to the Internet podcast. Oh, I'm sorry. Bruce,
Lawrence, you got it. That was exactly what I was gonna do. Hit it.
Dang it, man! You
hit it.
Yeah, Bruce put down his towel, and then I kicked sand all over it. Hey, welcome to the Talk to the Internet podcast. This is a podcast where we talk to the internet. I'm Lawrence, joined by Bruce and Criken. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Is that an actual intro?
Yeah, well, we try to do the intro every time. It's just usually we're like 10 minutes into it, generally.
It's like that was smooth. That was clean.
I know.
I've done this a lot.
Yeah, Lawrence has hosted podcasts for literally 30 years. He's hosted a podcast since before podcasts existed. I don't know if you know that.
True.
What part of your brain, Lawrence, do you shut off in order to effectively go to that place that you need to go to introduce a podcast?
That's a good question, Criken, and I've thought about it a lot. I love starting an answer that way because it gives people a warning that I'm about to ramble. Yeah,
it
exactly.
Also buys you time.
That's exactly what it is. No, it really is kind of like, I don't remember when I thought about this. I think it's when I was actually in grade school and like doing shitty stage plays, which I actually found the VHS tapes for. Why am I saying that weird?
You got to upload
VHS.
You got to upload them to YouTube, Lawrence. I want to see it. I want to see it.
I was insufferable. Like I was trying to draw attention to myself when other people were doing lines and stuff. It was awful. I couldn't stand it.
That's great.
But yes, I'll certainly put it on the internet so everybody can mock me. But I recall being very nervous and afraid, but also realizing if you just shut off that part of your brain, and then it's just kind of like there's static in your head, and you just kind of go through the motions. It's kind of like pulling a part out of a car and then connecting the two hoses where that part used to be just straight together. Mm-hmm. You just sort of, you remove inhibition from your brain. And that's part of what it is just, feeling the vibe and letting that go straight to your mouth instead of second guessing everything, which is what I do every other second of my waking day.
Right. It's removing the filter that thinks about what you say and just goes purely into reaction and
it's radio. It's radio.
Yeah, it is radio.
Because I did radio for 5 years, and that's what it is.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that about your past, Bruce.
Yeah, I did radio for 5 years, and it was like I could literally. I could still do it right now. I could turn my brain off and then do a 30-second, radio host rap, just about nothing.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Okay, you ready?
Pal.
He's not getting paid.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're not. Where's NordVPN money? We need it.
I know that's true. Hey, you know what, Criken? I'm supposed to get paid for this. You gonna Venmo me for this or what? This is like upwards of $10 to $15. Yeah.
How about this? I'll buy you a drink when the quarantine is over.
All right. I'll actually take you up on that. I'll take you up on that for sure. This was I would go, let's see here. 92.9 KJEE, Santa Barbara's Modern Rock. My name is the Bruce, and the Bruce is here because we just played some Creed with Arms Wide Open. And did you guys know that Creed's Scott Stapp just actually released a sex tape on the internet, but not on purpose, totally on accident. And I don't know how long Scott Stapp's going to last in Creed. So up next, Puddle of Mud with Blurry on 92.9 KJEE.
That was some smooth listening.
I mean,
Thank you, Bruce.
I did it for 5 years, and I did it for hours and hours a day for 5 years. So,
the Bruce.
yeah.
So wait, Bruce, where do your like 20-second discussion topics come from? Would you just like grab them from your phone or from a
Or
newspaper?
make them up. Would you make them the fuck up, and it would always work because no one double checks you because you're on the radio.
No, it was always.
Is that what it is?
No, it was on the internet. I mean, like you just Google stuff.
Oh, okay.
This was early. Actually, it was the year 2000. So 2000 to 2004, 5 is when I did this stuff. And so the internet was there. It was just like very, it was the infancy of it. So you didn't have news all over everywhere all the time. So you'd have to do a little research and find out what was going on. And it was fun. It was really fun. I loved it.
Did you have a little notepad with like little celebrity gossip things written down?
Yeah, you did. And actually, we had like actual just pieces of paper with our promos on it. So like if we did a giveaway or whatever else, then we would do, they would all just be on our little piece of paper, and there would be a little promo sheet. We'd put down our promo sheet and read off of it. It was, I mean, like radio is so much fun. Radio is honestly this. It is exactly Twitch. The more that I do Twitch streaming, the more I'm like, oh, it's radio. That's what it is. It's just, you're just constantly talking. So
yeah, I think what I love about radio and I guess streaming is you kind of learn this cadence of intonation that like is meant to kind of help people through your sentence, but also keep their interest and have them waiting on the final word. And I love the way you just did it there. I was able to like see it so much clearer because you like go from the lows and to the high, and then you hit them back with the smooth talk, and like it's like it's like you're making a sandwich and you like deliver it to them with like your point, and it's just such a, I don't know, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's I was doing the same thing yesterday where I was doing the like commentary for a Bannerlord fight.
Yeah, I do that too.
I was just doing like sports commentary basically. It's like,
oh,
Mangus Horse Thief takes a spear to the side. I don't know what he's gonna do, but maybe he'll get up and he got up. I can't believe it. He's going 110%. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. That's
a great bit.
That improv, I love it.
I started doing that too, and like I feel like I should come up with more streams where I can just do that more consistently because I do that, but I also started doing propaganda from like the fucking 20s or something like that, announcer voice. And here we have a classic, like happy home with this man here who's, carrying forward, and look at his wife. Hello, wife. And like we just cut to the next thing, and we're like doing that for like we're playing like old like 20s music of like a wartime like if you want to join the brave folks in like the 23rd Division as they're getting like blown up and like cut the tape, cut the tape. Someone just like gets fucking annihilated on screen.
That's the they call it the transatlantic accent.
Is that the voice? Yeah. All right, I need to know where I need to do this more.
That's the transatlantic accent. Yeah.
The hyper nasal news dispatch from our fighting boys overseas voice.
Exactly.
Our fighting boys overseas. Look at them go.
Yeah.
Defending freedom and the savage land of Europe.
That's exactly right. That's it.
That's exactly it.
That's everybody's. It's this weird like pronunciation of every single word, but used nasally and quick. So.
Yeah. I guess you probably have to really hit your plosives if you're on really shitty audio recording. I wonder so much how much of it was just total aesthetic and how much of it was them working around the technical limitations. Because you probably have to be pretty high in. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of bass or midtones on, like, wax cylinder recording.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
So maybe they spoke like that because it was one of the like, frequencies that actually carried over the recording process.
I bet that's it. That actually sounds just pseudoscience enough for me to believe in.
Good. And, I have some other investment opportunities for you, Criken.
My ears are pickled. I'm particularly interested in. I got pickles in the mind.
No, it's good. It's perfect.
I just ate pickles. I don't know if you guys ever order from like a deli nowadays when you can order everything. They give me a pickle in a little sleeve. Look at that.
Oh,
a little bit of pickle juice left in the bottom of the sleeve.
Are you going to drink the pickle juice?
Should I drink the pickles juice live on the stream?
If you were Autumn, that's all you would do. Because I've seen Autumn take a pickle jar, and instead of taking a pickle out of it and eating the pickle, she drinks the juice from the jar. And I'm just like, wow, like, I didn't know people did that, and she loves it.
Did she have picklebacks with us that one time when we were?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, I'm pretty sure she did because the picklebacks work like a charm. Lawrence knows this.
Yeah,
I'm sure
they're actually pretty good. I like the pickleback more than
I've actually never done a pickleback.
You've never?
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's true. Lawrence is a connoisseur of all alcohols, but Also, I think, what do you drink normally? Is it vodka or whiskey, Lawrence? What's your alcohol?
I drink everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I just kind of throw a mental dart at the bar whenever I walk up to it and order whatever's on my mind.
Picklebacks are like to get rid of the taste of the whiskey as soon as possible. So it's like you take a shot of whiskey, and then instead of being like fighting it and being like, oh, that burns, you just take the pickle shot and it's gone. That's it. And it's a really, really dangerous recipe because I've done 4 or 5 of those in one night, and you're just like fucked. And you don't realize that you took 5 whiskey shots because you didn't taste them. So they're great.
Yeah.
Isn't the pickle brine supposed to also do something for hangovers? I don't know.
I'm sure that it is.
Something electrolytes. I don't know,
magic
Criken. You're
medicine.
probably convinced.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure that it is.
I'm probably convinced. Are you
I thought
implying just because you had one pseudoscience win that I am that easily swayed?
I said
Lawrence?
the word electrolytes, man. What do you want from me?
Yeah, and I personally don't believe in electrolytes, so you're
Oh.
batting up the wrong tree there, pal. Try again.
By the way,
Free radicals.
I want to ask you guys. I want to ask you guys because I'm just curious to see how is everybody doing in quarantine. How are you guys feeling?
You go first, Lawrence.
Okay. I'm doing shockingly well. I think that I kind of am just heavily introverted by nature. So staying inside all day and just like interacting with the world through the internet is kind of my nature by default. It does cause stress in me to see other people affected so strongly, and maybe it's doing things to me that I don't quite understand yet. I think that's probably true of a lot of us. But no, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm playing a shitload of video games. I'm very lucky here because I have Stephanie to sort of keep me somewhat connected to the world. Who knows what I'd be like, man, if I were just on my own. I'd be getting into some weird headspaces, and maybe I am and just don't know it. But no, I feel like I'm lucky enough to still have lucky enough to still have work. So if you even call it work, this is just kind of, I don't know. I hate to say it, but this has been one of the like least stressful periods of my entire life, I think.
Well, that's great.
Mostly because, I'm just sitting around doing what I do, and for some reason, it's keeping me alive right now. So, and I'm lucky enough to like be able to support causes and things like that, so I don't feel like a total waste of time and space. Yeah,
That's great.
been able to play Sonic the Hedgehog. I feel more complete than ever.
I also played Sonic the Hedgehog, and I do feel more complete than ever.
Was that the way you feel in quarantine, Criken? How do you feel?
I feel okay. I think a lot of Lawrence's sentiments I can agree with, in that, we are kind of the potentially the least affected career by this.
Oh, absolutely.
In a lot of ways,
100%,
and
yeah.
we're incredibly lucky for that reason. On the flip side, I definitely feel physically some bad side effects of not going outside enough, or or walking enough and being sitting all day. Like, I can feel my shoulders tense from constantly being looking down at the computer, or my knees locking up more from not walking so much. So not even that I walked a lot before, it's just that I didn't have I would take walks outside, and I would do that sort of stuff, go to the park and stuff, but now I can't really do that. So I definitely feel a little bit of cabin fever setting in, and I miss seeing my friends in person. But it has been nice to do stuff like this where we all talk online, because I think it reinforces that we're all kind of in this together, and so that part of it has been nice. And also the idea of knowing that everyone else is going through the same stuff has made it a lot easier.
It helps.
Than you feeling like you're a little hermit somewhere. You know that you're all hermits together.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it because the last week or so, I've been going oh man, I can't wait. When is this over? And the more that I'll go and Google it, and people will be like, it's over May 15th. Oh, it's over May 30th. It's over in September. It's over, and I'm like, and truthfully, it's probably just going to be a really slow rollout where very slowly, maybe minor things will change along the way. You'll go to restaurants and have to wear a mask or whatever. But for me, I think the biggest thing is that I miss seeing people in person. Even going to a restaurant and having a server and seeing other people near you, and that's a big deal for me because I'm an extrovert. So I get my energy from other people, and it's like Lawrence said, boy, or maybe you said it, Criken, maybe both of you said it. We're so lucky to be able to work from home. And for me, I've just been getting my energy from Twitch. When I go and finally go, stream to a bunch of other people, like you said, we're all in it together, and we're all, it makes me feel like we're all sort of talking to each other, even though there's nobody around.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
I have had some interesting interactions with like just people that live in the same complex as me, because whenever you do see each other, there's definitely like okay, we're not supposed to be interacting, but I haven't seen another person in so long, and they're like, and so we just have like really basic conversations, but you can just see this like intense energy behind it.
It's a need.
Derive any sort of communication. So in that way, it has been kind of fun that like people you normally would never talk to, you now have super short conversations with at the very least, because they're just excited to see another human and remind themselves that they're not the last people on Earth. I took a walk with Autumn Monday night. We walked around the neighborhood for like an hour. And man, it was fucking awesome. It was like that's the kind of shit that you super take for granted. And like I said, we're not. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're really at risk here in terms of dying, whereas a lot of other people are. And I think most of us are staying home to make sure that we don't get other people sick, because we probably will be okay. Our immune system will probably be able to fight it off. But I don't want to be responsible for getting other people sick in the case that I had it or have it or whatever. Yeah, I think I'm more worried about being asymptomatic than getting it myself necessarily when I go outside, because I think I have a pretty good immune system, and if I were to get it, I don't know. Like that's the scary thing, is like you may just be a walking host and not know it. Yeah. And that's just the scary part.
Yeah, I don't know. It was I'm just curious. I've been asking people, and I talked to a best friend of mine, and he's a firefighter and a EMT, and he's kind of been like out and about, and obviously he has to gear up every time he goes to a call or whatever else, but he gets to drive places and like see people, and I was like envying him. I was like, man, I wish I could go to a workplace with coworkers.
Do you need more firefighters?
It's just funny because like I don't know I never thought I'd be in this position, especially in one of the largest cities in the world. So super weird.
I've been frantically and I would say near desperately waving at anyone that happens to walk past my house.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Pressed up against the window.
Yeah, well, so I'll work out in my garage, and then I'll, like in between sets or whatever, if I'm just kind of trying to get my breath, I'll walk to the end of the driveway and just sort of stand there and watch the world go by.
Yeah.
And then
I thought you'd tail someone. You'd like wait
No.
press.
No, I'll just hang out in my driveway. And then like Black Knight says, violently wave at anyone who happens to make eye contact with me as they were like walking their dogs or whatever. But yeah, it's I guess I'm getting little booster shots of humanity as I need it. I don't know. In the darkest recesses of my cyberpunk-addled brain, I figured this is where human society was going to get at some point, is that we're all in our little pods, and then we interact with each other through an electronic network of connectivity. So I think we just skipped ahead about 30 years in terms of the way that we interact with people. It's not permanent, but I can't imagine that things are going to go back to exactly the way they were after all of it.
No, I don't. Yeah. I think more people are going to be aware of this now, and they'll have masks at home and they'll have sanitizer at home, and like sort of like earthquake kits, because like here in LA we have earthquake kits. Mm-hmm. In the case there was an earthquake, like there was one last night.
There was
like literally 1 mile.
Where were you when the earthquake hit?
Literally 1 mile from my house.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like an explosion, actually.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was that bad? Damn.
It was scary, dude.
Yeah. Lawrence and I we were really close to it.
Yeah. It gave the house a good nudge. And then since Steph has grown up in California, Bruce, I assume you have similar reactions. That it hits a lot deeper, I think, if you grow up around it. So she was like on her feet in action mode in less than a second.
That's exactly right. Because first it felt like an explosion, like because I was sitting at my computer uploading YouTube videos, which we'll talk about in a sec, and I was like sitting there grinding away, and all of a sudden all the windows rattle at once, like boom, and I was like, well, that was weird because I didn't expect it. Usually it's like somebody maybe like hit a post underneath my garage, or somebody dropped something outside, or maybe there was even an explosion, like a gas explosion or something. And then it happened again, and it happened again. And by the second time, I was up and running. I was up in the house running straight to Autumn because she was asleep, and I was like I wanted to like put the light on because Autumn is incredibly like make sure she's so prepped when it comes to earthquakes. She does not want to be in an earthquake. And so I was like, first thing, went to the bedroom, woke her up, was like, all right, hey, let's go, we gotta go. And she was like, what? Because she was asleep. I woke her up. She didn't even feel it. I felt terrible, but I got her up, and I was like hugging her, waiting for it to die, and it did. It was only like a 6-second earthquake. It was so short. But it's just super weird, like you said, Lawrence. It sounds like Stephanie did the same thing, where she was like up and running around, making sure that everything was good, and like, I don't know what was she doing?
Well, like you said, it was over so fast. She had basically because my instinct was to like run for a door frame or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's still active, but that's what I was making for. I guess she just kind of like checked around to make sure everything was fine. It's because of her though that our place is pretty earthquake proof, despite everything you see on the walls back here. But like all the shelves are anchored to the walls and like everything like that. So
Yeah.
Nothing very serious can topple over because of her preparedness. And then we have an earthquake kit in the front room. But yeah, usually it's the same procedure of freak out for a second, remind yourself that everything's fine, and then go tweet about it. Seems to be the final step to really get closure on the whole process.
Twitter is such a funny place with an earthquake's hit because it just explodes and I guess everyone's like, did I just imagine that? I didn't. When they like go on Twitter, like that's the beginning and end of that intellectual thought.
It is. Well, and it's just like we were talking about earlier, where we all want to experience it together. So So like when you go and do it, you validate what you felt. Because for me, I was like, well, maybe that was just in the neighborhood. I was like, I don't know.
I see what you
mean. And then I asked Autumn, I was like, hey, can you check on Twitter to see if there was? And she was like, oh yeah, there was definitely an earthquake, and it was like down the street. And I was like, oh, thank God. All right, I thought I was going crazy. But it's weird. Earthquakes, in my opinion, are fucking cool. I love them. I think they're rad. And the first thing I did, hilariously, I didn't tell Autumn this, was I got up out of my chair and I'm right next to my television. And the first thing I think of when an earthquake hits is my television, only because it's like it's propped up on a spot that I feel like could fall over at any time. And so I ran over to the television and put my hands in front of it, just like very briefly for like a half second. And I was like, okay, and then I ran to Autumn.
You're like, I got it. Oh wait, fiance.
Because it wasn't sure if it was going to get bigger or stronger or what. And it didn't.
Yeah. I just thought you were like going to grip your little hallway and just yell, "Fuck yeah!" Just love earthquakes and just riding it out.
I think they're awesome. And each one is totally different. Like that one was like I said, that one was like an explosion. But generally, sometimes they're slow rumbles that like kind of rumble up from underneath, and then like they get stronger and stronger and stronger, and eventually it's like this really big shaking thing that you didn't experience. But that one was just like a bang. It was cool. Yeah. But it was amplified because we're all in quarantine, and I was like, man, what the fuck happens if my house crumbles? Where am I gonna go? Like what am I gonna do?
Yeah. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Are hotels open? Yeah, man, damn.
I would assume hotels are open. Right? They gotta be.
I guess so.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
I know some are.
I don't know.
I know that most are not. The reason I know that is because
I'm sure some must be.
I know that most are not because my dad works for Hilton and he's currently furloughed. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I know he's not able to. He's not able to actually like work right now, and neither is most of Hilton. But I think they've got a few hotels open, right? They must. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
I got a question for you guys. You strike me as intelligent thinking individuals. If you felt that earthquake, and let's say it's 1400 or whatever, what would you think caused it?
14.
Like pre-internet, what would your brain come up with to explain an earthquake?
It would depend on what era I was in, right?
A Titan.
I mean,
like a Titan stomping?
Waking up.
The first thing I would think was that it was God. And God was probably angry. That's what I would think.
Okay. I'm trying to think if this works. Let's presume that God is mad at you, or that you felt that earthquake and you're like, oh crap. What in the last 3 days of your life would you pin it on? That is probably why God's mad at you.
That's a good way to put it. Man.
I think I skipped my workout the past couple of days.
Couple days.
So maybe God's trying to get at me.
I got bad news for you, Lawrence. I've been skipping my workout for the last 3 months.
It's Criken's fault.
If there's any reason to cause an earthquake, it's me.
All right, Criken, we got to get your ass in the gym. You're gonna be the end of our village.
You can't go to the gym.
Causing earthquakes. I guess for me it would be like I got mad. Well, actually, this wouldn't happen in 1400, but I was like, I'm getting upset because they've been cutting trees and shredding trees by my house again, and they start at 7:30 in the morning every day, and then only go till 1 p.m., which confuses the hell out of me because there's so much more daylight. But I've been woken up by that by I think pretty much the last 6 or 7 days in a row. And so for me getting upset about that, I've been like, all right, I shouldn't be upset about it. I shouldn't be upset. They're just doing their job. And then the next morning they wake me up and I'm like, I shouldn't be upset, but I get upset. So maybe that's what it was. That's why I caused the earthquake, because I got mad at them.
You had impure thoughts.
I had impure thoughts, exactly.
Oh.
Interesting.
Wait, so are we? This analogy's kind of lost me a little bit. Are we still in the 1400s?
I guess no, we're not. I mostly use that as a framing device because when the earthquake happened, I guess I remember that night thinking, how did people deal with this mentally before? And I just imagine some dude insisting it's because they haven't sacrificed anyone lately.
Yeah.
And then just losing his mind, and it's like, man, we had an earthquake and now we have to deal with this guy who actually believes he's got to stab somebody to death to prevent an earthquake from happening. He actually believes that. How are we going to calm this asshole down? I have no idea how I would deal with that.
Yeah.
Even worse if I were that guy. So I was like,
I would probably just lay low for most of my 1400 life. I'd be the guy in all the cut scenes, third row, second to the back, waiting till everyone else starts jeering, and then I also
chime in.
I wait until I know that I'm not the minority opinion here. And then if everyone's like, let's go sacrifice that one, I'm like, yeah. Just stop me.
What
That's
happens
how
if
you live long enough,
Well, that's the thing, though. What if let's say I'm the crazy, superstitious guy who was convinced that the ground is going to crack open and swallow our entire village whole unless Criken, you go to the gym. If you don't go to the gym,
Me specifically. So you the crazy lunatic, pick me out of the crowd in my third row, second from the back, and you're like, if that specific guy,
because I see everyone else in the gym. Criken stopped going to the gym. Suddenly we have an earthquake.
If I saw everyone going to the gym, I would go to the gym. I look in the 1400s. I would be a hardcore follower.
You'd be a follower, not a leader.
There is no room. Yeah, leaders die back then, dude. Look,
they do. You're right.
We played enough Mount and Blade,
yes,
Bruce.
No.
We know what happens to the leaders of every war band. Okay, I would be that looter, third from the back, right on the edge of the border of the map. As soon as morale drops low, I'm out of there, and you're not going to be able to catch me.
Everyone's like, "Where's Criken? He was just fighting with us."
I'm that cartoon of the guy where his clothes are left behind as he's just fucking running behind, floating midair. That's exactly me.
Does this? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add on to your to your scenario. I'd be the leader that was fighting for freedom and fighting for whatever rights existed back then. But then, and I'd be like, man, hey, things are going really well. Everything's going really, and then I would get executed. I'd get caught by
instantly,
the larger leader and get killed for sure. 100%. That's what would happen.
God. I can't imagine, having people wanting to kill you all the time. It sounds so stressful. I don't know. I finally watched The Godfather Part 2, and it's just I don't know. I will always reference good movies and make the most meaningless point associated with them. What I took away from The Godfather 2, out of all the masterful directing, writing, and acting, is that it would just be really exhausting to have people want to kill you all the time. Just really exhausting. I think I would definitely slip at some point. I just have my third glass of wine and I just be like, yeah, screw it. Let's go somewhere. And then just get shot in the head. And that's it. I feel like you can be king of the mountain, but heavy Heavy weighs the crown.
It's no, I think you're right, Lawrence. I've been watching Ozark, which is, by the way,
I love Ozark.
an amazing show. But that whole show is basically about them trying to make sure they don't get killed in their line of work. And I think there's probably just this is probably just what happened back then in the 1300s and 1400s. Like, people just expected you to die, like, because if you didn't die from getting killed by someone, you died of disease, or you died of like getting trampled by a cow, or people were dying all the time back then, and nowadays that doesn't happen. Like, obviously people die, but they don't die to those random accidents. Like they're very like long and drawn out, and obviously the average life expectancy is way up.
It goes super out of her way to keep people alive.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah,
back then it was like,
didn't matter
how.
It didn't matter at all. So I think there's an adrenaline that goes along with that, though, where like you feel alive all the time,
living on the edge.
Yeah, because your
cow could come at any minute.
Yeah, because honestly, you don't, like you could die, and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna live all the way to the extreme. I'm gonna live turnt. Because I may die at any moment, so who cares? And now it's like, well, we should get our 401ks and like make sure we invest in stocks and save our money and eventually buy a house and all that stuff, because we expect that we're going to live till 80. So
I haven't really thought about what my 1400 self would be doing at any given time. I'd never really thought about that character, but now I'm interested in that. I'm trying to think of like how I could realize any of the things I'm actually interested in, my personality. There really is hardly any. There's like hardly any, like, sources of creativity or self-expression back then. So I would either have to be like a traveling circus dude, which I'm certainly getting killed in that case, so not doing that. Or I'd have to be like, a bard, maybe?
Oh yeah, Criken would be a bard.
I could be a bard, maybe. But like even then, I feel like bards also get killed a lot. But
yeah, would you be like an irascible bard? Would you be pumping babies and all the farmers' daughters before traveling onto a new village, or would you just show up, play your song, and go?
The Witcher 3 bard is what you're talking about.
Yeah, like Dandelion.
Yeah.
Maybe. I feel like any bard is eventually wants to be hired by a kingdom so that they have steady income. It's, oh my god, it's actually Twitch streaming.
No, yeah, it's real.
We're getting to the point where
it's a real thing.
You're busking,
yeah, and you need a sponsor, and the sponsor is the king, and the king, you have to then keep them happy with regular ad reads, and if they don't like you, or if you're not performing well enough, and the whole court isn't laughing at the right time, then you're executed.
Yeah,
and your contract is cut.
Everybody's looking they're looking for safety and for money, generally, because they want to live longer, usually. Unless you're like one of those dudes in wingsuits, which I've always wanted to be those guys in wingsuits that jump off cliffs and like.
Yeah, they are
have a GoPro.
Neither looking for safety nor money. They're looking for that little butterfly sensation in their tummies when they go flying up a mountain.
I think you could link extreme sports and things like that to the exhilaration of cheating death, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's all it is.
I think despite it just being an incredible experience by itself, I think part of that can be just like, well, I'm only alive once, and I want to feel what it's like to fly. I do think that part of it is like you feel immortal if you actually survive through something like that.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like the guy I went skydiving with. He was strapped to my back. He was the guy that jumped us and like pulled the whole deal. He did all of it. And I just I was just attached to him like a baby. He was like, yeah, I've done over 10,000 jumps, and I was like, holy shit, like 10,000 jumps. That's like 15 years of his life jumping out of an airplane.
Falling.
And like he's done it so often that it doesn't feel like anything will go wrong anymore. He's used to it, that's something that I couldn't even comprehend when he told me. I just had no idea, because I was so nervous and so scared of jumping out of that plane for the first time that I could not comprehend the fact that he'd done it 10,000 times or whatever it was. So yeah.
Maybe he just tells everyone that, and it's his third jump.
Yeah. Shit, I never even thought of that.
Yeah,
he was
saying.
He was trying to make me feel good, and in reality, he was just
as nervous.
He was like, really scared.
Oh,
I know.
Trying to explain why I pissed all over your back.
I was like, why am I wet? That's weird. What's the scariest thing you've ever done? Ever, of all time? What's the scariest thing you've ever done?
Like mentally or physically? I guess both.
Any of it, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think of it, because like for me, it was absolutely skydiving. I was 100% guaranteed I thought I was going to die. So. But go ahead.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I guess probably bungee jumping. I did that when we were in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And that is, I mean, kind of linking back to before. And there's been some stage fright moments where there is a part of my brain. I think like also before I went in to get I had an umbilical hernia, which is just like a little hole in my gut sac right above my belly button. They had to go in and put a mesh in there. And I was pretty scared before that happened. But then the anesthetic kicked in and it was all a fun ride. Yeah, I think bungee jumping probably the most literally direct, terrifying thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a just turn your brain off and do it kind of situation. It's amazing what you can force yourself to do if you can just actively reach out and silence that part of your brain that panics whenever you are confronted with new situations.
Oh, that's so weird. That's you're exactly right, Lawrence. I did the same thing for skydiving. I thought to myself, if I die, I literally said the Rocky 4 line. I said, if I die, I die. And I jumped out of the airplane. and that was it. And I was like, well, this could be the end. Bye. And then I jumped out. But it was hours of panic and anxiety leading up to it, where I finally had a nice moment of zen and then was able to jump out of the airplane. So, what about you, Criken?
Yeah, probably surgery for me. I had like a pretty serious spine surgery when I was a kid, and not kid, I guess, teen. Mm-hmm. And that was like definitely a big moment of like when you go under, you're like, well, this might be my last waking memory.
Yeah.
And then luckily everything worked out okay. And then it was like a long recovery process, but it was at the time it was a big thing.
Yeah, that's I did the same thing too. I had the 7-hour jaw surgery, 8-hour jaw surgery, and it's funny now. I can't even really remember I know I was scared, but I can't remember how scared I was, because I can only think of skydiving. So it's super weird. Surgery is a whole different sort of scared because you're trusting other humans. Whereas like bungee jumping, I guess you're trusting other humans with bungee jumping and skydiving, but there could be mechanical failure. Whereas with surgery, it's like you're just hoping that these people will revive you if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's because Lawrence, you talked about it too, going under. You went under for your surgery.
Yeah, it's something you can't not think about, right? Yeah, they basically like put me in a gown or whatever and wheeled me into a holding room. And then, I just sit there, I guess, waiting for the anesthesiologist and all the aides to get ready. And yeah, just sitting on a stretcher, sort of staring at fluorescent lighting in the ceiling. That's kind of shitty sepia brown, yellowish color, and like all the ceiling tiles. And yeah, Criken, exactly like you said, just being like, who knows, man? They've done this a million times, but this could be it. This could just be a freak accident, and this is it. And this could be the last 5 minutes of my life, or the last that I remember. So, what do you even think in that moment?
Yeah, I don't know.
Aside from just choosing not to think about it. I often thought about that, like death row stuff. It's getting really dark, but it's mostly just, I guess, kind of like most things. I remember in those moments where, kind of like you said, Bruce, of like if you die, you die, or whether your fear is justified or not, knowing that destiny is not really in your hands anymore.
Yep.
It's just like, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and panicking about it isn't going to change anything.
Yeah.
So just kind of refuse to feel that for the interim until it's over.
I used to be scared of flying, and that was what flying was, is that you get into an airplane and you're trusting the pilot to get you there and get you there safe. And if the pilot doesn't do that, then that's it. There could be a mechanical failure, but you have to hope that the pilot knows how to deal with that mechanical failure,
we take like thousands of those risks every day. It's just that usually the threat has been mitigated so much that it's not.
That's right.
It's not a real threat anymore. Driving in a car is more dangerous nowadays, than flying in a plane.
100%.
The thing always quoted.
Yeah.
Especially in LA. LA is a bit of a crazy place. I remember actually. I'm thinking back now because I don't think often about that surgery thing, but the night before I went into surgery, I think the most morbid is like the night before, right before you it's like the day of, and then you can't really do anything about it. But like the night before, I remember lying in the hospital bed and like they had the TV on, and it was just playing the Hulk movie with fucking what's his face, the guy from
Eric Bana? No.
Norton.
Oh, Ed Norton. Ed Norton.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm like, I think that was the one time I cried that entire trip. Was that I was like, this might be the last movie I see is the fucking Hulk movie. I'm like, I deserve better than this. I didn't like the movie that much, but also I was like, obviously under a lot of stress, so maybe that was why.
Have you guys has there ever been a time? This is less morbid. Well, maybe it's more morbid. Where there is something that you're so excited about. Lawrence, you might be able to. I'm trying to think. Actually, both of you guys, there may be something like this that you're so excited for, like piece of content, video game, movie, television, whatever, that you're like praying to whatever God you believe in. Please don't let me die before blank comes out, and I want to experience it. I know that when I was like 16, 17, it was all about like Star Wars. It was Phantom Menace. I was like, please don't. I just want to see the movie. Please don't let me die. And then I saw the movie, and coincidentally died. But but it was before the movie that I was like, I was the most excited I think I'd ever been for any film. Anything like that?
Yeah, I think for me, so like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were like my two favorite games when I was a kid, and I was like the hardest core Rare fanboy. And when they got bought by Microsoft, there's like kind of part of their soul died as a company. Like there was this long dry period where there wasn't really a good Rare game coming out. So for me, actually, I think I remember like to myself, I'm like, I cannot leave this earth until the next great Rare game comes out, and I feel fulfilled as a child. And then I think that like Sea of Thieves like was announced a few years later, and I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe not, but at the same time, it's it's fun to see the creative continuation of what you were obsessed with when you were a kid.
Yeah. What about you, Lawrence?
Let's see. I'm trying to think about games that I was ridiculously hyped for. I remember being really excited for Breath of the Wild, like a new actually open world Zelda, and the Switch in general was really, really exciting. And the launch of the Wii, back before we all kind of figured out it was terrible. That was really exciting leading up to it, though. New Zelda, new console, you can move your hands now. It's like you're in virtual reality.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that was... I guess like most things, if you really insist you don't die before a moment, it's very rare that moment will live up to the hype. But
it is.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm really excited for Cyberpunk, but I don't know. I've kind of mellowed out on that. Really, the things that I get sad about missing out on are the things I don't even know about, and that sounds that's like such a cop out. But one of the things I'm most excited about, just in general with my life, is to just see where the human experience goes. And I feel like. Oh man, I really have no idea how to phrase this because it's tough to express any kind of positive sentiment about where we are now and the things that people are going through. But I guess okay. Let me see if I can phrase it this way.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to jump out of a plane. Very few people actually do, but most people do it just because they want to see what it's like. So that's kind of an example of going through what you understand is a negative thing. To have it done or have it fulfill your life in some strange way. So in a weird way, I do find a fascination in the different ways that our world can change, especially in the context of my life. Seeing 9/11 happen was terrible, but also a world-altering event. I feel like this is kind of the same thing.
It is, yeah.
And I know that, like, yeah, in the span of my life, I'm only going to get to see a certain number of those. And knowing that the human experience will go on and change, and that new amazing things will still happen in the world. It's a bummer to think I'll miss out on all that, considering that right now, I don't mean right now, COVID notwithstanding, but the state of people's ability to express themselves and make art and share it with people, and just sort of like digital communities and digital culture growing and changing, seeing all that stuff is just intoxicating, and I really do love it. And I do think that it'll net a really immense benefit for humankind, and I would like to see that benefit really kick in. To some degree, it already is. But that's kind of the thing that bums me out most, is just the things that I don't even know about and can't even conceive of, not being around to see them or follow that journey.
What you're describing is the young gnome meme, born just in time to browse dank memes on the internet, but we're too soon to see the stars and too late to explore the earth.
Dork Chop in your chat, Lawrence, said it's real space travel, and that is something that I'm holding out for. Now at this point, literally, I'm putting aside a little piece of money to eventually, ideally, fly into space, because I would love to do it. I'm sure it's going to be out of my reach, I'm sure, but we'll see. So,
as in, like, your life savings to go up and go back down again, or like when you've decided you're ready to leave and die, you're like, all right, send me up there.
Criken, it's funny you say that, because by the time we get there, I may be too old. So I may be like, let's say 70. And and they're gonna say, oh, if you go up, you might die.
One-way ticket.
And I would be like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. Like I would love to see space. I would like space is something that has always excited me. And now that
but what if the thing that was gonna kill you was the ascent, and then you would die before getting to space. You would die from the trip up to space, and then it's just your body in space.
Criken,
is that a risk you're willing to take?
Where do I give you my money? Because yes, that is a risk.
This wasn't meant to be a sales pitch.
No. That is a risk I'm willing to take, because it would basically be me like getting as close as I possibly could to it. There'd be no point in me
like
sitting.
The final scene in the movie where you're like the tears are like rolling past your eyes from like this momentum going up,
and then my head explodes because of the pressure or whatever.
I don't think that's what happens.
Your old man skull is too soft.
Exactly.
The helmet just collapses in on itself.
But the good news, I think the good news is for us guys, I think we're like 10 years away from this. We're actually 10 years away from like actual paid flights going into space and then coming back.
Yeah.
At least from what is it, Virgin Galactic and Elon Musk says. I don't know if we can trust them. But
yeah, he's hit all of his time estimates so far. So
no, you're totally right, Lawrence. It's one of those things where I'm still holding out hope. I don't know.
Oh, 0-calorie alcohol. Imagine that.
What?
Yeah. I'm waiting for that.
Another thing you're waiting for? And then you can die happy?
I don't want to die before I get diet booze, where I can just get really drunk and take in 0 calories.
Can't you just like butt chug it? Does that give you calories if you butt chug it?
In your body.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
If you butt chug it, could it? Don't you get?
I guess I have to try it. That's really the only answer.
Because I think you get drunk faster, right? Do you butt chug
my
it?
understanding. Yeah, it gets into your bloodstream faster.
Yeah.
I have a question for you though, Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Your space love.
Please.
Does any of that also cross over to the deep ocean? Because I feel like the parallels there are pretty similar.
They are, Lawrence. You're right.
It's just not as romantic because it's not out there.
It's not as romantic yet. Well, that's because I can't see it. So space I can see every day. I stare into it every single day, right? But
space is I guess the problem is then the space is phenomenally empty.
It is. You're right. Yeah. Oceans.
So would you be okay like living in a cabinet with a really loud engine next to you for like 8 years so that you can see one thing?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Really?
I would. Yeah. It's something that I thought about a lot actually. Like, and the reason I say that is because, like, put it this way: if we had already had millions of people fly to Mars, maybe not. Right? Like, maybe I'd be like, everybody's done it. They come back and they were like, it's whatever. Like they saw Mars and they're like, it's fine. But if it's me and I'm like one of the first 500 people to go to Mars, I'm in. I'm totally in. I don't mind wasting away, freezing my body or whatever for 4 years, sitting in a fucking spaceship that could explode at any minute. Because it's an experience that no one's gotten to. Literally nobody in the entire, all of human history has never experienced.
I mean, I feel like the chance to be one of those 500 people is pretty low.
You're right. You're right.
I think you're more likely going to be, number 2 million after they open up the 10th year of the space program or whatever, and you're like, I got my ticket, and then you go. if you think about it though, if it is really going to be 8 years of, travel and in like a 30-foot by 30-foot cube, I don't know what spaceships look like clearly, but if you're just waiting in that time, wouldn't what we're doing now be training for that?
Yes.
When you're applying to be an astronaut, you say, I lived through the COVID epidemic, and I left my house barely ever. So imagine that, but just applied to 8 years and space instead.
Well, think of it.
That's my point.
Think of it this way: the quarantine, we don't know when it's going to end. But to Mars, you do, because they're like, it's going to be 8 years. You just got to wait 8 years. But there's an end to the destination. Right now, we don't have that, and I thought a lot about this too, just in my life in general. Like if I was in a job I hated or whatever, if I was in a job that I hated, I would think to myself, I don't know when this is going to end. I have no idea, and it would drive me crazy. But once I established, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave this job by this time. I would put down a date, and I'm not talking about Funhouse, by the way. I'm talking about like jobs in my past. I would establish a date. It would help me so much because it would give me something to look forward to. It would give me an end to my journey, and I think that's what's driving me crazy about quarantine is that I don't know. I don't know how long we're going to be doing this. It could be like months. It could be who knows.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be interesting to because in the space, I guess you'd be going with other people. Like there'd be like colonists that were sent to Mars, or your fellow rich are like all in the thing together. There's no way you get to Mars over 8 years and there's not at least one murder.
Or just unfortunate and mysterious death.
Yeah, how? Because like, what's the enforcement going to be like up there? The law. You're not bound by any sort of.
Yeah, there's no gods in space.
Yeah,
he can't follow you out there because he can't breathe.
Yeah, because you're going so fast. How's he going to catch you?
God actually only has a land speed of 90 miles an hour. So if you're in a car,
Yeah,
it's been tested.
you're faster.
yeah, the second you go over 90, sin doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
that's why
you
I
can do
hit
whatever you want.
91 and then I start butt chugging right in that truck.
Butt chugging.
Oh, that's cute.
I
Bruce, I was gonna say, like, it sounds like the rarity of that experience and the firstness of it means a lot to you.
It does, yeah.
So what if you were to also be the first person to butt chug an entire handle of whiskey?
Well, I mean, the problem with that, Lawrence, is let's pull the logic out of it.
One of them he may survive, the other he will die.
Let's pull the logic out of it because I know somebody's already done it. Number one.
You're right.
Number two, it isn't something that I could then go to my friends and be like, "Holy shit!" and like basically like have it's not a life altering experience unless you die or really fuck up your intestines. I guess maybe.
Which it would be.
I mean, space could do that to you too. So
it can, but it's more in the service of humanity. Whereas butt chugging a whiskey,
it's purely
inspires
selfish.
people. Oh, come on. Come on, Bruce. You've inspired
You didn't
people
even share that butt chug.
You share it with them with online media. So
That's
live
true.
stream butt chug. Bruce, I'm just saying. I'm just going to come out and say it. They're nearly identical. Going to Mars and butt chugging whiskey. So you can do it right now, and the fact that you're not, I think, says a lot about how dedicated you are to going to Mars.
I mean, Lawrence is right. When Lawrence is right, he's right. And I have decided that I am going to, immediately after this live stream to butt chug a whole bottle of whiskey. Right now, I'm going to put it on the internet. I have to blur out the butthole, but
So what's the point then?
Some guy at NASA has his rejected stamp, and he was just about to slam it down onto your file, and then he's like, "Wait, hold on.
The whole room
He might be
erupts
more
into
committed
cheers.
than we thought."
Slow clap starts. He's ready.
He's beginning to believe. Cut to Bruce in the bathroom.
I know. Like
Oh,
my legs over my head, holding the bottle of whiskey. I'm sure that somebody's.
Fuck you, Mars!
I'm sure that a lot of people have already done that, and it probably didn't work out very well for them. And then when they went and told their friends about it, all their friends went, "You're fucking crazy, dude. Why'd you do that? You're stupid." But if you went to Mars, they would hail you as a hero.
So what we've established on this podcast is based on your achievements, people will regard you differently.
I mean, that is a fact. What you just stated is a fact. Yes.
I love the ground we're breaking here. Thanks, guys, for listening, everyone.
I don't know. Space. Lawrence brings up a good point about underwater, where because like I can't see what's underwater and I can't see the vastness of it. Because you're totally right. It is exactly like space, except that there's probably like interesting creatures down there, and you'll probably see a lot of stuff.
Yeah, let's go down there first. Well, I'm not going to go.
I was going to say you definitely won't go.
I definitely won't go, but I will happily watch as submarine number 33 gets consumed by the all-seeing serpent.
I mean, there are.
If we go deep enough, we're gonna wake up something exciting.
Lawrence is right.
Yeah, I'm bored, dude. Let's get something going at the bottom of the ocean.
Honestly,
send down a couple of missiles, a couple torpedoes, maybe a nuke.
You guys,
let's get that water tumbling.
You guys know, right? That there's they say that there are giant squid, like they're literally giant squids down there.
Oh yeah,
like actual
That's
Krakens.
not even a surprise anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Kraken's a little bit different. We're talking there's giant squid, which is like, wow, it's a squid but big, and then there's like a kraken. Like that's a different beast, my man. We're talking like ancient demigod level stuff.
I know.
I want to see one of those. Let's go find it.
I mean, well, you can in the bottom of the ocean.
I can't. You can.
That's true. I could. Lawrence could.
Go for it.
But you wouldn't.
Put your money where your mouth is, man. I'm tired of all these people coming on their podcasts talking about going to finding the Kraken, and they're not even doing the base level beginning of that.
Right.
They're not even dipping their toes in the water.
All right, I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Money notwithstanding, meaning you had all the money in the world, would you, and you had to do one or the other, would you go to the bottom of the ocean or to space? What would you do?
That's dumb.
I already know Criken Center, but...
I'm going to actually throw it out. I would probably rather go to the bottom of the ocean.
There you go. Yeah.
Not because I like the ocean. I think that the two are equally inhospitable to life, but there's a greater chance of seeing some really fucked up life on the bottom of the ocean as opposed to just getting arbitrarily fired out into space.
True.
Totally.
I think space would be cool for a couple of days, and then it's going to be this. It's going to be quarantine.
Yeah.
It's going to be in a thing hurtling at some indiscriminate velocity through an endless void of straight up nothingness. And sure, there's probably a window I can look out of, but it's just going to be black all the time. Maybe a star way far away, and like imperceptibly far away. Whereas in the ocean, yeah, I mean, probably can't see anything, so I'd be looking at like diagrams and readouts and wireframes and such. But I feel like that's going to be the case in space anyway, and I might find an eldritch terror down there. He could just by an errant dream that inserts itself into my psyche, I could then bring back his consciousness and spread it to every person on this planet, so that we all worship him while he sleeps soundly in the bottom of the ocean.
Now that's a good goal.
Yeah. Now who's doing the more consequential thing there? I could just be an asshole who dives in space and my stupid old shriveled body gets fired out into the endless black. Or I can take over all rational and sentient thought on this planet and service of the elder god Cthulhu. I don't know. Whatever.
We know what you meant.
Rithaglan. There we go. That's a random.
Criken, you got to do one. Where are you going?
Well, I'm terrified of the ocean, so I'd go to space.
Okay, all right.
I'm more interested in hearing what happens in the bottom of the ocean, because I agree with everything Lauren said. I just don't personally want to be the one seeing the ancient one right in the face. Call me a coward. I'll, probably am in that regard, but I'd rather get the bloodstained note at my doorstep saying that Cthulhu has been awakened than to see him open his giant eye in my face.
What happens if Lawrence goes to the bottom of the ocean? And much like most people probably say, nothing is there. What happens if you reach the bottom of the Marianas Trench?
He's going to have horrible bends when he comes back, and then that's his regret.
There's just nothing. And then we go, wow, there's literally nothing there. I wish I'd gone to space.
Huh.
Would you have then been like, you know what? No, I'm glad I went to the bottom of the ocean. Or you're like,
would I regret it?
Would you like, bah.
Probably, yeah. I think at that point, if I went down there and there's just dirt, and like a bunch of old porno mags, I'd be disappointed.
A bunch of plastic.
Yeah, a bunch of cups, red Solo cups just stacked up. I was wondering about that. Has plastic, like, I guess we don't know because we can't go down that far, but I don't know if plastic pollution has permeated all the deep, impossible layers.
Ooh, interesting.
It's possible. I don't want to throw this out there, but it's possible there was an elder god dreaming down there and we killed him.
We killed him with red Solo cups.
Yeah, accidentally plugged up all of his breathing ports with red Solo cups, and he just went out.
We choked him out with one of those 6-pack plastic.
Come on, bros. Let's kill Cthulhu.
Dude's on a yacht, just pounding light
Take
beer and then throwing
that,
a Solo cups.
Eldritch horror.
No, yeah,
I love this headcanon.
people say that there is plastic literally everywhere now, like it's all over the ocean. And anywhere you go, if you're going to the very, very bottom, there people are finding it. Yeah, which is a super bummer.
It probably means that there's species of animal that we have not discovered that have adapted to a world of plastic ocean. Like they make their home in these in giant, elaborate palaces made of red Solo cups. Imagine like a hermit crab, but one that like a beaver hermit crab that has built a world out of these Solo cups.
Mm-hmm. And
I want to meet that thing.
So you're saying they built the city of Atlantis out of Solo cups down at the bottom of the ocean, and they have their own...
Why not?
I mean, well, that's what Aquaman said. Aquaman said that there are 7 distinct kingdoms at the bottom of the ocean warring for territory.
Uh-huh. Wow.
I know.
And how many of those, at least one of those built out of Solo cups?
Probably. Yes.
So here's that's only DC canon. If we recall, in multiple films, Lex Luthor's entire villainous plot is simply to create more land. So,
right.
and Criken, and Bruce, I like where you're going with this. You're trying to humanize the pollution predicament. You're trying to make it fun, which it ought to be. Kids these days need to understand that their plastic is actually going to a fanciful and wonderful place.
It's going to a good home.
So I think it's 100% in DC canon to argue that our intense pollution of the ocean has really only created an amazing backdrop against which to set further Aquaman films. So the plastic islands floating around in the ocean have now become the bedrock for new aquatic domains.
Yeah, new IP.
Younger and edgier Aquaman that our leading man can certainly battle with, but eventually take down. It really is. I hope DC's listening and is willing to cut royalty checks
to a stranger they've never met who just handed out their free idea.
No, I got a lawyer. Hold on.
Oh, you do?
Let me tap over here on my phone a little bit.
Okay.
And there we go. Okay, it's copywritten.
Make sure.
So take that, DC.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just thought a lot about this because I'm like, we gotta be like. I used to think 20 years ago that we were close to flying cars. I thought for sure that Back to the Future 2 was the...
Why would they lie?
Was the truth. Well, I was like... Because, you go and look, and they're researching... They're making flying cars, but nobody uses them. And I was like, well, every car in LA is going to be a flying car in 2020. I can't wait. And boy, was I fucking wrong. So now I'm like, hey, we're all going to space in 10 years, right? 2030, we're going to be flying to space? Guys?
Well, as usual... I think your dream came true, just in the way you didn't expect. We don't have flying cars. We just don't have anywhere to go. So traffic's still not an issue. I think in 20 to 30 years we can go to Mars, but it'll just be a VR helmet we strap on. That'll give you the realistic Mars experience.
Yeah.
And then you'll take it off and still be like overweight with knee problems because you haven't stood up in 2.5 months.
That sucks.
Well,
just don't take the helmet off. And you're
Lawrence
fine.
is going hard into the Matrix canon. I think... I mean, to borrow... How about this, Bruce? You want your flying cars. Why not we get our flying cars, and instead of going forward, we go up. Mm-hmm. And we drive to Mars. What? Then you can have both things.
How are we going to drive to Mars, man? What are you talking about?
You just drive
put
up.
duct tape over the AC vents, and you're good.
Yeah.
It's like waterproofing.
Man.
Yeah. It's like, having a car that can, survive water, right? Yeah, aquatic vehicles. It's just that, but for space. We just go up.
I never even thought of that.
That's right.
You're a literal genius.
Hey, give me a job at Tesla and let's make this happen, okay?
These
things,
once he's...
They're running on electricity. They're running on solar power. Guess where the solar is? It's in the space. And if we put a car in the space with the solar power, it goes on forever.
You do sound like Elon Musk. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's kind of the way he talks sometimes. He's like, let's just drill a hole under LA and we'll make it a tunnel for Teslas.
Yeah.
Make it a tunnel.
He does. That's what he said. And then they're doing it. They're doing it.
Oh, yeah. The one where they're just going to have like a straightaway between...
They're making it.
SF.
I thought they gave up on that.
No, the boring companies. I mean, like, they're still doing it. It's ridiculous.
He's just making another road.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that doesn't eliminate traffic. It's just you have another road now.
Well, you know,
and it also costs way more.
The best part about it, Lawrence, is that Teslas are prioritized. So if you drive a Tesla, you get to go in it first.
But everyone drives Teslas, so you'll just be waiting in line for an hour to go onto a road.
I know.
What? I love the way that like Elon convinces everyone. It's almost like it's that thing of like everyone in America is just a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Oh man, that's awesome. I feel like in the same way, whenever somebody hears Elon talk, they suddenly forget that everyone else in the world exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got a Tesla. So did 80,000 other people in the LA area. And guess what? They're all going to want to take the stupid tunnel because they think they're the only people who have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead of waiting in line on the highway, you're going to wait in line in a tunnel, which sounds infinitely more terrifying.
It does, because if that tunnel collapses, everybody dies.
Lawrence, have you ever even seen...
If somebody gets like a flat... like what happens if somebody at the exit decides to like take a call? Or they're just like, oh wait, hold on, I dropped something. And they're like looking under their seat for their fucking iPhone battery for 5 minutes. Because that's what people do!
Have you ever seen Me Robot, I Robot, the one with Luke Smith?
I have not seen Me Robot with Luke Smith.
The one with the tunnel. There's the tunnel, and then there's the robots that come out in the tunnel. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the movie. I think the movie you are describing.
Mr. Robot.
I have not seen it though.
Me Robot.
The fantastic, yes, Me Robot.
Are we talking about? So Luke Smith? It's not iRobot, is it? Because that's Will Smith.
Is it iRobot?
You're thinking of Will Smith and iRobot.
Yes, Will Smith. This is.
I think it's Me Robo. Me Robo.
Me Robot with I Smith. Yes. Okay. So this movie, Lawrence, has a scene in a tunnel where all the cars are driven. Get this, by a robot.
Okay.
And they're going really fast because the robot knows how to drive.
Okay.
And there's other vehicles that have robots in them that are more like robotic people.
Okay.
I just thought it was a cool.
Oh, is that the end? Oh, that was the end.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah, we're done.
All right.
I just thought you'd appreciate that scene.
Okay, so let's say that I am not Tesla. Let's say that I'm Ford. Whatever. Ford. And I don't like this new Tesla tunnel because it's causing people to fucking not buy Fords. So I'm just going to go to the exit of that tunnel and put down a little spike strip.
And then everybody's fucked.
Yeah, and then the first car rolls over it, it stops directly in the ramp, and everyone's stuck in the tunnel.
No, they're all hover cars now.
Oh, they're hover cars.
Now what do you do?
So it's still a tunnel, though.
Now what do you do?
So is the tunnel multiple cars wide?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that it is, to be honest with you. Right now, the pictures that I've seen of that tunnel...
No, it looks like one car.
Yeah, I think it's one. I think it's one car. Yeah.
There's something that I've seen multiple times. It's something where people, and I'm not laying this on Elon specifically, but I think it's more everyone buying into the idea, is that they don't think about the way things break. They only think about the way things work. It's I've seen it with a lot of like techie dudes, is they can't comprehend the chaos of reality breaking a perfect machine. Yep. But it happens all the time. That's what engineering is for. It's just designing with intolerance. But I don't see any of that in the boring tunnel. It's just one car wide tube that goes hundreds and hundreds of miles, which presumes that nothing's going to go wrong. Now, I'm sure there's smart people working on it, but still, it is amusing to me when somebody's just like, there, everything theoretically works, which means realistically it will work every day in the exact same way, which is never how it goes.
No, it really, and Lawrence, you're right. I mean, like it's the same thing. That's like the him going to Mars. He's like, yeah, in 10 years, everybody will be flying to Mars, every 6 months or whatever. And everyone's like, well, what about all these other like I've read the articles where they're asking him the questions, and he's always like, oh, that won't happen. Oh, that won't happen. Oh, that won't happen. I was like, what the fuck? What about all those other things? He hasn't thought about any of the other scenarios. It's like, it's only the perfect scenario. So I still hold out hope
And
that
to
he's
some
a
degree,
genius.
it takes idealism to get stuff done.
It does.
Yes,
So I appreciate that, but-
optimism.
It does.
This country was built on it. That's why we use the same piece of document that it was originally founded on, because it's impenetrable.
You're right. It's
Sorry, guys.
More
I'm
than that.
dabbling with turning this podcast into like more of a political commentary.
Oh,
Let me know
nice.
if
Yeah.
you
You're,
think
you're
it's
doing a
worth
great
it.
job. You're doing a great
Yeah.
job.
I'll just be the only one that's talking about it, though. You guys can just do whatever you want.
you need to go like hard libertarian too.
Yeah.
It's like that's all the government. The government just gets in the way of good ideas, man. That's all they do. Ever
Yeah, that's like my one note response to every piece of topic we talk about.
find a way to blame the government.
Yeah,
for
find a way
everything.
to bring it back to the government being the one at fault.
This is getting dangerously close to an actual podcast.
Yeah, right. This is look. If we're trying to have an actual intro, we got to step it up with like some hardcore libertarian views.
Really? Do we have to do that? Are we sure? Are we sure? about
No,
that?
we don't. I'm sorry. That was a bad bit. You guys continue it.
We need one just to get those 18 to 34-year-old male eyeballs. Hell yeah.
Where the real ad dollars are, baby.
Yeah. You hit them on one hand with the hardcore libertarian ideas, and then you get them with the NordVPN subs on the other.
That's
my
I
favorite.
wanted to bring up YouTube, but we're so late into this podcast. We can talk about it next time.
I mean, it's a pretty easy summary. It sucks.
It sucks.
God, it sucks.
Man.
What happened?
I don't know.
It got awful.
I just did a podcast with, or actually it's like a one-off, basically talk with Brett Ultimus, Criken's editor, and we talked about it for a while because he's experiencing the same problems, and I'm glad to hear you guys are too. It's just like, holy shit, dude! Like I said, ad dollars generally are in the toilet in spring. Usually they're really bad around this time for YouTube. CPMs are, but is it weird that no one's watching YouTube? Like views are going way down, and then Twitch is doing great. Why is that happening? It's so confusing to me. I can't figure it out.
Go ahead, Criken.
I mean, I don't know about enough of the other channels out there to know about the views problem. I mean, I definitely see that on my own side, but I would guess that, I mean, YouTube's got this issue where they're constantly changing their algorithm to try to find and promote different things, but it's made it such an inconsistent platform that as a creator, it's like very hard to see kind of long-term sustainability on it unless you're actually actively trying to lean into wherever they're pushing their new algorithm and like kind of pushing their their new agenda. And so now, especially nowadays when everything's so kind of unknown and up in the air, I feel like they're going even harder in that direction of like trying to. I mean it also must be the new like COPA complacent laws, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Maybe, yeah.
I think that's had a pretty dramatic effect on the whole site, and we don't really see a lot of that being on like the adult side of YouTube. But
Yeah, at least for gaming, probably, yeah.
yeah, but I think it has a very big trickle down effect on the rest of the site based on kind of either where ad money is going or how they're recommending things, or just basically having the effectively the viewing portion of the site split now between the younger site and the older site.
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Lawrence, what are you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna offer a theory that pretty much everyone on chat seems to be throwing out, is that Twitch by its nature is more interactive, whereas YouTube, it's canned. So if just going off anecdotally, and certainly how I feel, I need socialization, and one of the things I didn't really bring up, and you had asked a long time ago how quarantine is affecting us. I feel like I get the amount of socialization I need through Twitch chat, of actually like talking to people and interacting with them live. So I can only assume that it works the same way for audience members that come to Twitch for content as well. They want to actually interact with somebody, or at least feel that there is a living human on the other side. I think that the nature of Twitch or YouTube content, that it's edited and kind of, it's almost similar to reality TV, where it has the illusion of being authentic and real, but more and more it is edited, it is character based, it's improv based, it's partially scripted. So it has a more like produced flavor around it, which, when you work in an office all day and you come home and you have 10 minutes to watch something, you want something dense and maybe a little bit canned and predictable because your day was wild.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting around all day staring at the wall, doing, Zoom calls in your underwear. and I guess live actual interactivity, radio, kind of like you said, is a better companion for that than content that lets you blow off some steam at the end of the day. That's how I always use Twitch. Whenever I watch live streams, it's usually something on the side where I can reach over and like blast something in chat if I feel like it, or mostly just hear the interactions and feel like I have that like parasocial thing going on.
Yeah.
So I can only assume that that's why it's been doing so much better than YouTube.
Not just to inject a little bit of logic into this. Obviously, we're all here on Twitch, and everybody is talking about how that's why we're here on Twitch. So it's kind of one of those things that, yeah, of course we're biased because we're here. But I mean, in my opinion, the numbers don't lie. Like I keep track of so many YouTube channels, like upward between 25 and 50 YouTube channels, because I like to see where they go. I like to see where views go. I like to see where content goes, like just to see how their channels trend, and that's just something I've done for years. Anyways, and they're all down. Everybody's down. All the views are down. So and mainly they are all gaming channels too. So to me, yes, I do think a lot of people on Twitch are correct that there's more interactivity here. It feels more personal because it does. It just is. I also just saw Big D in my chat say that if he's watching Twitch, he only has to worry about an ad or two. There's like maybe 1 to 5 ads in the content he watches. And then on YouTube, he said there's like upwards of 30. And if you're watching, like, I guess it's true. If you're watching like a 10 or 12 minute video on YouTube, you're going to get probably 3 ads, I think, generally in a 10-minute video. If we're lucky, you get 1 at the beginning, 1 in the middle, 1 at the end. Whereas Twitch, if you watch hours of Twitch, most of the time you'll maybe get an ad or 2, possibly. So that's pretty interesting as well. It's something I hadn't even thought about. So I don't know.
Yeah, YouTube's auto ad placement has gone bonkers the last couple of days. So the movements that I've seen just from my perspective, and I haven't been watching exterior channels like yours, Bruce, or like you have.
Yeah.
But I did see a boost in viewership, but an absolute decline in ad revenue, which is super weird. And then there was a technical problem where YouTube just stopped processing videos properly. So to be fair, I upload really long videos, like 6-hour, 1440p 60 videos. All right, I get it. It's a lot of video. Yeah. But YouTube used to process these like overnight. Now it's taking multiple days, and they don't even process up to 1080p. It just stops at 360. So I don't know what's going on there. That's really interrupting my ability to like post at a normal rate, which is usually what leads to growth and performance. And then 3, I also noticed that when I tell YouTube to automatically add ad breaks, it adds about 3 times as many as it used to.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, to the point where they're like 2 to 3 minutes apart sometimes.
Holy shit!
Wow. So now my posting process is, and they're always in like the first 45 minutes. It's just a really thick block.
It just looks for like the most viewer retention, and are just like ba 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 ba.
Oh, I didn't know
Absolutely.
that. I've never done that before, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can only guess it picks like low points in the audio waveform or something like that. It's like some kind of algorithmically decided placement. So I'll basically go through and delete like 2/3 of the ad placements and then let it go with like 2 to 3 ad runs in the first hour, and that's it. But yeah, the YouTube system is really strange now. I don't know. I feel like the whole vibe of YouTube and YouTube content creation was going in a weird way for a long time.
Yeah,
it made sense to me.
On the wall for a while.
Yeah, YouTube was cleaning up its act. It needed to attract, and certainly I think it needed to make a lot of advertisers feel safe on the platform, especially after certain headlines broke out. And some of its top influencers did some very shitty things. So I think all those things combined, it was like, okay, we made a decision. We have to keep our ad sponsors happy. So here's the way we're going to try to nudge the system towards maybe not saying so many racial slurs all the time. I think that in respect... Like, you had 2 kinds of content creators then. You had the ones who complained and sort of faded away because they stopped getting money. Then you had the ones that adapted, got a little cleaner, a little more buttoned up, a little more produced. And that's kind of the schism of YouTube now. It has content that does, or used to do, very well, but is not at all ad-friendly, and is kind of not in favor with the system. And then the content that is super, super safe and part of the COPA thing, I think, Criken, that you had mentioned. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this weird, everyone can upload what they want network, but only the people who are already at network capacity to make and produce content will ever find success there, meaningful success.
Mm-hmm. It is a crazy hard place to get started nowadays. It's always been hard, but it's just gotten worse and worse. And at this point, if anyone asks me, like, oh, what would you recommend to someone trying to start a YouTube channel? I'd say don't do it.
Yep.
It is not a good scene right now.
Yeah.
It's a good hobby. You do it to prepare for what's after
Yeah.
YouTube.
It's
Yeah, I think making that your creative outlet, like it was for me originally, I was like doing it to make fun videos, and then was surprised to find an audience, when they showed up. But like it is what that is now. It's like it is a place where you can upload your kind of portfolio or the things that you're excited about, and then even find communities online that that are interested in that as well, and then kind of embed in them. That's kind of the best way, I think, still to get used to YouTube. But to try to treat it like a business is incredibly difficult right now.
I've been using these conversations as a way to warn people on Twitch, because in my opinion, Twitch is about, let's say, 2 to 3 years behind YouTube. So I think what we're doing on Twitch, like media share and like lots of all of those things that are like really gray lines, like those are like if any lawyers or anybody else starts looking at that shit, it's all going away. And it's going to turn more and more into YouTube, because YouTube is more commercialized, it's more corporate now, more of a Disney platform, and Twitch isn't. So I've been saying to people on Twitch, be careful. Like if you guys are like like spamming TOS, or like you're reporting channels or whatever else, like know that those reports and stuff like that, like obviously do the reports for actual reports. But if you're like, oh man, like I got upset because I saw a dude with his shirt off or something, like those reports are going to pile up, and eventually Twitch is just going to drop the hammer and be like, okay, never mind. That's it. We're done. We're not doing them anymore. We're not going to do any more media shares. We're not going to do any more of that stuff, because we don't want to absorb the legal implications of it. Because that's what happened to YouTube. I watched it happen with YouTube. I talked to people at YouTube, and I saw it happen with them as they would tell me what was transgressing at their company. And so it's like, like if it's probably going to happen eventually on Twitch. Just for now, let's see how long we can get it to stretch out. Make it feel nice. Make it feel good, like early YouTube did. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's that, and there's also like with how it's stories are nowadays in the media, it's very easy to take one bad egg or one bad example and then blow it way out of proportion, and then have big, really heavy hitting bad long-term change come as a result of that.
Yep.
So on the positive side of things like banning and Twitch policing is that you can preemptively nip a problematic kind of topic or person or thing in the bud before it gets to the point that you're going to be ruining it for everyone. So
Yep.
I don't think YouTube was very good at that. I don't think there really was much of a way of like whistleblowing. They like weirdly made the YouTube hero topic.
Oh yeah.
Like, remember that? Where they're like, hey, we want our users to be whistleblowers, and we will reward you with, I don't know, like a badge next to your name that says that you're a whistleblower. Like, I still don't understand what YouTube Hero was trying to do. But didn't they roll that out right before some of the big like media bombs hit them that like kind of ruined everything?
I actually don't remember when they did it. I just
the timeline. Yeah.
I just know it was a bunch of people. They were like literally hiring their viewers to be snitches.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You don't remember that, Lawrence?
I don't remember this. No.
This was something that died very quickly because it got so much negative press so fast. It was basically YouTube was the company was going to their viewers and being like, hey, do you guys want to be a YouTube hero? Well, then while you're watching YouTube, make sure you report the YouTube channels that are bad and like all this other stuff. And it was like, for example, if you, let's say they get somebody who's a YouTube hero, that's super biased. And they don't like, let's just to say people's feet. They don't like to see people's feet. Then they start reporting all these channels and they all get fucking banned because they have feet in them. Like, holy shit, dude, that's terrible. That's a terrible way to police your network, and that's why they stopped. I think they stopped it. I don't know if you could still do that. But
yeah, it just the whole messaging on it too. YouTube hero. They're like, you can tell in the boardroom when they were coming up with this feature, they're like, how do we make this not sound like you're a snitch? You're a hero.
Trusted
You're
Flagger
cleaning up the
program.
street.
yeah, the Trusted Flagger program. There it is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for the link, by the way.
That was, I think
Hoffman.
I think you might be right, Criken. That was a few months before Adpocalypse, because that was it. I think Adpocalypse was the beginning of 2017. I want to say when all the PewDiePie stuff hit.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong. But yeah, just that kind of stuff is like, just be careful on Twitch, is all I'm saying. You guys as viewers and as engaged viewers on Twitch have so much power. You have so much power. You don't realize it. You really don't. But you really do.
Yeah.
So, Criken, it's funny, because I noticed the same thing about Twitch, where there were a number of incentives where they were trying to drive up their ad load. And that kind of worries me. And this is super, super outside. Like, this is outside looking and stuff. I don't know anything about what's going on in Twitch. But when I see them trying to drive up ad load, trying to drive up, like, productions that are more than what their base is, which is, when I say more, I mean, like, in terms of how it looks to the outside. I don't think advertisers are impressed by somebody sitting in their chair and droning on while they play a video game. They want to see, like, big, clean sets. They want to see safe content that they can throw their advertising dollars behind. So when I think of those two things together, then yeah, it makes total sense to me that we're on the timeline that Bruce is talking about, where every company, and this is how companies should work, tries to, like, find any money they're not getting and get it. And I feel like Twitch has identified that taking a cut from all of the viewer to streamer revenue is good, but not, like, they want to spin up other forms of business. And I think they want to get into legitimate, like, big, high level, like, Ford truck campaign ad sales.
Yep.
And it seems like they need the ad traffic first to do it, and then they need, like, nice. Oh, is that the Smartlight just linked the leaf blower RTX voice clip? That's an awesome clip, by the way. But yeah, it seems like they I hate it when I can tell a company, like, got a whiff of a pile of money and they're trying to chase it.
Yep.
And whenever that pursuit then goes directly and in some ways directly contradictory to the tone and style of content that made them who they are. I mean, to me, I saw that dance first at Machinima. Bruce, I'm sure you saw it at G4.
Oh yeah.
I mean, G4 is G4 may have been a little more complicated than that, but yeah.
Well, G4 had
it's a bummer to see that process start.
G4 had television ads because it was a television network, but it was a bunch of advertisers that were like, well, we can't advertise this because no one knows what it is. And it was the same when I went to Machinima, and it was the same. And actually, Rooster Teeth, in my opinion, was the best at selling it. They had the best sales team at selling content that other people didn't get. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's just something to be aware of when you're on Twitch. That you know, right now I think, in my opinion, is a really, really good time for Twitch. Probably even a few years ago was even more of a golden age for Twitch than it is right now. But just be aware, things will probably change. And by the way, Lawrence, to your theory about the ads thing, you're 100% correct. And the reason is because I read an article a few weeks ago that was like Twitch's ad revenue was extremely low for what they had projected. But and it was comparing it to YouTube's ad revenue, which was literally off the charts. It was like they had blown it away. They had made billions and billions of dollars on ad revenue, whereas Twitch didn't.
So where'd all that money go? Damn.
Yeah, right. And then and Twitch is now like being like, all right, well, we got to start running more ads because the money's in the fucking ads. Like, it's, you know, like everybody's always talking about how that there's millions of dollars. I mean, there are $1 million ad deals that cross these television networks every single fucking day, and that's Twitch, and Twitch wants a part of that, and YouTube's getting a part of it now. So, anyways,
yeah, that's just it's interesting because I feel like people at their own pace come to understand certain, I guess, basic truths about media production. One of them was in the Adpocalypse on YouTube is that you can't say whatever you want and still be ad friendly to every possible advertiser. That's always been the case. That'll always be the case. Nothing about YouTube changes that. And I guess maybe there was an assumption that, along with YouTube, Twitch, and other, like, digital democratic platforms, that somehow we got immunity from advertisers wanting to call some shots. But no, that's absolutely the case. And then the second realization is that if you make family-friendly content, you can carry any advertiser you want. So then the obvious third choice is that if you want to be a successful producer, you got to clean up your content.
Yep.
If you want money to flow through. If you want to just subsist on whatever people are willing to give you for the content you make, and if you think that, like, making edgy racist jokes is worth it or worth that validation of your comedy, then that's fine. But the thing you can't have is a company representing you to advertisers that don't want to be on your content and then saying it's their fault that those advertisers aren't willing to play along.
Yep.
So it's, once the money comes in, everybody's decision-making starts changing, and that's just how it always is, I guess.
It is.
Is the concern that that'll happen to Twitch where, excuse me, I'm eating my sandwich.
It looks delicious. Don't apologize.
I'll put it down. I just started talking. I completely forgot I was on a podcast. Is the thinking then that because of Twitch being live and the fact that they're trying to push more ads now, that will then in turn cause the content to be neutered a little bit, or
Well, they're going to get more
put through more of a filter?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So that's what happened with YouTube. YouTube sold a fuck ton of ads, and the highest I've ever seen the CPMs were right before Adpocalypse. Right before Adpocalypse.
I remember. I remember how good that was. I remember looking and smiling and saying,
Yep.
I can do this forever.
Yep.
And then the next month,
And the next month,
oh no.
it literally crashed like the stock market. So, and that was because YouTube wasn't policing their content. So Twitch is probably learning from those lessons, I would imagine. And they're starting to figure out ways to police their content before they ever sell those Coca-Cola ads or those Ford ads or whatever else. And like people, a lot of people, I saw a lot of people in both of our chats say, "Oh, well, Twitch is live. It's harder to police live." It is, but they do a lot of DMCA takedowns on live channels. So people will play something live and they'll get DMCA'd live, and that blows my mind. That's like something that like because like now there are robots policing all of our Twitch live streams.
I think the issue is we don't know what content falls under that category versus on the we'll mute the VOD afterwards category versus the we don't care category, because there's so much content out there and you have no idea what will fire off that system. Yep.
I mean, that was the problem with YouTube. People didn't know.
Yeah.
And so PewDiePie could do whatever he wanted. He could get somebody to, hold up a really bigoted sign, and because he had never gotten his hand slapped. And bang, he did it. And that was it. That was it for all of YouTube. So, there could be a couple content creators on Twitch that are like, well, I've done that same shit for 10 years. Why now? Well, because of ad dollars. That's why. So, I don't know. Anyways, we're way over time. But I wanted to make sure you guys, we drew that one out. It's an interesting conversation. So.
Super interesting. Yeah. I think that as people are asking about where this goes from here. I shouldn't. Yeah, fuck, I already bit it off. Damn.
Do it.
I think you'll have, somebody mentioned demo disc, which I think is a great case study about how YouTube doesn't work anymore. Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, but demo disc was a fantastic idea, but it had porn in it. It just straight up had porn in it. So it was popular. Shocker. People like porn. And I don't want to discount any other part of it, but I feel like that was a huge thing that made that show work really well, apart from the energy and like the gags and just the weird old games. But you try doing that on YouTube now and you get demonetized and probably deranked.
Yes, that's right.
That show got a following when none of that stuff was in place, and it made a good amount of money too. But to be fair, we were pushing ads in front of porn, and if any of those advertisers knew it, they'd probably be pretty pissed off about it. Yeah, so there's no other platform you can do that on. And to a degree, it makes sense that there's not really another platform you can do that on. Because advertisers are just not going to be cool with it in the end.
Well, to be fair, and to be completely fair to the content we were making at the time, it was blurred at least, but it wasn't heavily blurred.
We blurred it as little as we could.
We did. And I remember every week it was like some new test where we'd upload it to YouTube, see what happened, and YouTube would be like, oh, this is too much. And we'd be like, okay, all right, well, we got to blur that one specific image. And then like every week it got more and more blurred until eventually it's just like black boxes over everything almost. So, but you're right, Lawrence. If an advertiser had seen that and they would have been like, what the fuck? They would have been super upset. So, yeah.
And then, Couch Up was on YouPorn, but that didn't work out for them. Everyone always says, oh, they should just make an adult version of YouTube. They did. It's called YouPorn. You can put whatever you want on there, but content that's just racy enough falls into a weird category between people who just want to watch straight up porn and people who aren't old enough to.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's no good place for that.
No, they're really. YouPorn doesn't sell ads because no one wants to buy ads against pornography.
Yeah,
they don't. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. They're maybe like maybe 10 companies, like we're talking small to middle companies, 10 to 20 small to middle companies that will buy actual ads on porn. Not many though. So, and I'm talking about the companies that are not adult companies. Anyways, all right, yeah, we're over time, but thanks guys for talking about YouTube and death.
Yeah, boy, the trajectory of this podcast is going off the rails now.
I love
We
it.
went to the stars, we went to the bottom of the ocean, and then we leveled out cleanly at the death of social media.
Not just the death, the what's the word?
The
sterilization.
Sterilization.
That's
There you
the
go. Yeah,
word,
that's
yeah.
it. The neuterization of it.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye YouTube.
Bye.
Bye.